I am Tanis Coralee Leonhardi, and I am a woman. And what that means is I'm a 28-year-old woman, and so I menstruate. In the United States, that is also called being on your period, having a period, that kind of thing. I bleed. Yeah. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about what my periods and PMS are like. And so how did I choose this topic for a video? Well, first off, this isn't a weird topic for me, because in large part, because I was in sports growing up, and competitive sports for over a decade. And especially when it's like a big swim team and you have 50, 60 women on the team, or more. It's just a topic that naturally comes up, because you don't want to be bleeding all over the place on the pool deck and that kind of thing, already wearing little clothing. And so, yeah, so it was a common topic of conversation, and something I realized pretty early is my periods are a little different, and everybody is a little different. And so that's something to remember, is there is no set, every woman has this set of symptoms. No, like the biggest difference between mine and some women's periods is I don't have the mental and emotional effects or symptoms of being on my period that a lot of women do have. I fall into the some woman category of my periods are dominantly and purely physical in their symptoms, which is I think it's fortunate, because I see the emotional swings that some women have when they're on their period, and I'm like, oh, aren't I lucky I'm not that. Like, I got the whole set. I have my fair share of other stuff that's bad. It's just physical, and I found some ways to adapt to it, and some ways I'm still working on adapting. So I have an average cycle. So end of period to end of period is approximately 30 to 31 days. That is natural for me. That my variance in that will be somewhere between 15 and 40 days. So it can be as little as 15 days between periods or ends of periods, and 14 days between periods or ends of periods. So, or 15 to 40 days. And so 30 to 31 is typical. 32 is also pretty typical. I'd say 30 to 32 days. 31 is like, that if you want something that's like a clockwork timing, it'd be 31 days, which is kind of like on our calendar system. It doesn't come out exactly to a month, because we have different months that are 30 to 31 days and a month that's 28 days, just one of those. So yeah, and so that's the timing. And then why am I bringing this up now? Well, there's like a little anxiety is for actually my trip to Ireland. My ideal trip, and even if it's a shorter trip than my ideal trip length, the ideal trip is 22 days in length. And so that means at some point during my trip, I will be experiencing either my period, or either be on my period, or I'll be experiencing PMS, which is like, it's pre-menstruation syndrome or pre-menstrual syndrome or something like that, which is like, for me, 1 to 2 weeks. Sometimes PMS is super long for me. My periods, I have found ways to actually make them short naturally. And so, yeah, so at some point on my Ireland trip, there is a very good likelihood that I will be experiencing some set of these symptoms. So I'm going to go through what my symptoms are. So they are, in all caps, physical. I only get physical symptoms on my period and during PMS. So PMS comes before period. So PMS comes before period. And so typically the first indicator that I'm PMSing is an upset stomach. And it'll be, no matter what I eat, I have an upset stomach. It's not a lack of appetite, actually. I have a different kind of pairing. So I'll get an upset stomach, my taste buds will change, and I become a bottomless pit, meaning I can eat anything. And there are usually good 3 to 5, if it's a long PMS, 7 days, where I can literally exercise 0 hours a day, just be complete like couch potato, and eat and eat and eat, and physically my body will rumble, like my tummy will rumble, and I'll feel it and I can hear it, and it'll just be like, eat more, eat more. And so menstruation happens because of the possibility of getting pregnant and that kind of thing. So it's a very natural response to actually have your appetite peaked and need more food, like, because if you get pregnant, you gotta feed that baby. So it's a very natural thing. And so my taste buds change. That's in part, my guess is, well, it's menstruation, which means you're going to be losing a lot of blood. And so I need more, I don't know why calcium, but I need more dairy, calcium, and red meat, iron, like beef, to help prevent me from getting like faint if I have low iron content or in my diet, that kind of thing. So beef and cheese or ice cream, those are really good things if I'm PMSing or on my period. A couple of my three other symptoms, these are, it's a killer. Lethargy, so I'll become like, I don't have to work out. I don't need to work out. Like, it's like my energy is sapped. And then I get extreme cramps to the point of I will not be able to sit up. I will, if I need to walk, I'll be buckled over, and that's with multiple doses of like a pain reliever. Like, I use Aleve. It works good. Midol I used to use, and now it does absolutely nothing for me. So it has zero effect. It's how bad these cramps are. And so Aleve is my go-to. And the third one is water retention. So I will literally gain about 7 to 10 pounds of water weight. And so I have to drink a lot of water, but it doesn't start, I don't start losing that water. So that's during PMS. So all of this is during PMS. And then my period hits. And then when my period hits, these things kind of linger, but I found the best way to get rid of all of them, and it's pretty fast. Like, I've adapted, and I've found what I need to do to get out of this kind of trough kind of symptoms. And so when I get my period, I exercise, and I don't want to do it, right? I feel like crap. I'm bleeding, I'm lethargic, like super cramped, and like the last thing I want to be doing is super high intensity exercise. And then I do half an hour, 45 minutes of extremely high intensity exercise, and it's like, whoa, and I feel like the entire weight of the world's been lifted. It's just amazing. And then when I exercise a lot, my periods are light. Instead of 8 days of heavy bleeding, it'll be 2. And then there'll be light bleeding, but my periods themselves are not bad at all. It's the PMS that's bad for me. My periods are like, compared to what I've heard and seen with other people, my periods are pretty freaking awesome. And so I feel very fortunate and very lucky that I have physical symptoms instead of mental and emotional symptoms when I'm on my period and when I am PMSing. So I love my body, though it does suck. And I think the hardest one for me, and where my concern comes in with Ireland, is I don't want extreme lethargy like to sink in and then not be able to kick back because I don't have an elliptical or I'm not in running shape or something like that. So I need to figure out for when I travel to Ireland and in my day-to-day life too. It's been hard with COVID-19 to figure out what that. I used to just go to the gym and exercise a lot, and it was like, yeah, getting a good 2 hours of exercise and I feel great and things are swinging back to normal. And so I don't really have that now. It's not quite the same when I work out at home. It's good though. It's making me adapt. So I'm finding new ways to get the swing out of the lethargy thing. So yeah, but exercise. And that's really just like I need to push myself to go. And I'm like, it'll feel physically bad when I start out, but half an hour in, it just starts, everything gets better. So what I do to deal with this, so PMS is a very special time. I could eat a lot. I found that trying to, because I'll be a bottomless pit stomach, and I could just eat and eat and eat, and I never get full. And so I eat more. I listen to my body instead of tormenting it. I listen to it, and I go with the physical symptoms, and I eat more. And then once my period starts, I exercise more. So in the end of my PMS period cycle, it balances out. So I'll gain a lot of weight up front, but then I lose that weight. Not a lot of weight, but the actual eating weight I gain and I lose. And then the water weight I lose. So the like first 3 days of my period, I will be peeing all the time because I'm just peeing off all the water weight I gained. So by day 4, I'm like super light if I'm bleeding at all, like little to no blood flow blood loss, and I'm like exercising is back. I've lost a bunch of that excess weight, water weight, and I've already started balancing out or have balanced out the eating more when I'm on PMS. And so those are 2 things. So I eat more when I'm PMSing, and then I exercise more once my period starts. And then, the other thing I do is I change what I eat to more dairy and red meat. So have a fairly set diet of recent. I'm trying something new, but dinners need to either be like ravioli with cheese filling or a good steak. Like there's just kind of adjusting my taste buds so that I'm getting more of like chicken's just not going to do it. Like I need more iron than that. And so pork's also a really good one. Pork's really good, like a good pork tenderloin with some roast vegetables. Yeah, so that's what my periods are like. And so I am looking forward to Ireland and just in life in general. How can so these are just good things I have, but is there a more rapid way I can find, a more rapid adaptation I can have to just, and maybe it's just getting up and running a few miles. I need to get in running shape then. I wasn't in it for a while, but I need to get back in it. So yeah, maybe that's my adaptation, getting back in 3 to 4 mile running shape. So I wake up in the morning, go for a few miles run, or come up with like a travel strength training, 30 minutes, do this. I got something in, it's way better than nothing. So there's my 2 target adaptations. Running shape, so run a few miles, feel way better, or a good short 30-minute strength training, get my body loosened up. That helps for hiking and stuff. Stretching is great, and I try to include exercises and strength training that require flexibility as well as strength. So my muscles and tendons and joints and bones don't get overworked or tweaked in the wrong direction. I've had a sprained ankle before and it took years for me to heal from that, so it's not something I'd like to go through again. So that's a bit about what my periods and PMS are like. I am looking forward to seeing if I can get some good rapid adaptations figured out for my Ireland trip and seeing if they work while I'm there, be it months from now or years from now or decades from now. Have a lovely afternoon.